Welcome back, everybody. I'm going to do a really quite short and sweet one here. One of the requests asked of me on the Padlet pages, money management. So I'm going to do a little bit about money management. If I get the time, I'll do one about character selection, which has been asked of me as well. So this is a response to Tutor Group 620. Again, please do use these if I can be of any help. I'm here to answer these questions. So the question is money management. Do a topic on how to use a money management system. I'm going to use the tower defense game that I've put together as an example for this. So if you haven't seen this one before, this is the idea behind the tower defense game. You can select a tower, you can place it. Each of these things take 3 hits to defeat, and then you lose when they get to the end of the game. But the question being here is, it wants to cost money every time we try and place a tower. So that's something we're going to do. The breakdown for the game so far is that there's 2 principal objects in the room that we're interested in at the moment. What we have here is the tower interface. Again, you'll notice the name appears at the bottom here, so obj_interface tower. And then there aren't any actually towers in the room, because what happens is the interface tower, when you place that, spawns a new tower, and the tower is the thing that shoots. The interface tower is merely the heads-up display object. But that's where we're going to store most of the code for this. So interface tower. Interface tower needs to know a few things. It needs to know when I'm created, how much does it cost? And I'm going to give it a price of 100. That's entirely arbitrary. You can put in whatever you like there. I'm going to give it a cost of 100. What I'm also going to keep a record of in my obj_HUD is a record of how much money we have in our game. And I'm going to put 500 here. So the idea being you could buy 5 turrets at the start of the game. Nice and straightforward, money being the amount that we're going to have. What I'm going to do to make sure that this works is I'm going to go to HUD's draw event. I've got a line of code here, draw_text, my score is, and it's going to display score. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it in. Obviously this time I don't want to display score, I want to display money, and I want to display the amount of money. Problem is, if I were to put that as is, this line of code would be displayed where the heads-up display object is, because it's displaying at my x and my y. This one would do exactly the same. Draw at my x and my y. They'd overlay one another. So what we're going to say here is take my y coordinate and add to that 30 pixels. That will move it down 30 pixels from where the score is. So just for testing, let's see how that looks at the minute. So score is 0, money is 500. Makes sense. Currently though, placing towers doesn't affect money. Everything's free. Brilliant God mode in our game at the minute. So what we want now is we want to say every time I try and select the interface tower or perform any action on this object, it's going to cost money to do so. Now, you do need to think about how your game is going to use this if you're going to use a money management system. I experimented with this a few months ago and discovered that the best place to put it on the interface tower is when I click on it. I've got an event, I've got an action already set up. That is my is movable variable, and I'm literally going to lock that out. I'm going to say this only becomes true if I've got enough money to make the turret movable. So if statement, again we're asking a question. If the amount of money available, there's a problem with this, I'll see if you can clock onto it already. If the money that is, or I should say, the cost of the item, try again. If the amount of money available is greater than or equal to the cost of the item. And I'm just going to wrap that in brackets, and I'm going to tab that across. So what I'm saying here is, if the money is greater than or equal to the cost of the item, then you can move this turret, otherwise nothing happens. Can you spot the problem with this? If you can, you're doing well. So what I'm going to try and do is move one of my towers. Oh no. A crash. Unknown variable money. Again, if you can figure out what the problem is, please go solve it and give yourself a crisp high five, but let's go and solve that one together if you can't quite solve it. So you're reading the error message here, unknown variable money, which is in the left mouse event for object interface tower. The reason why it can't find money is interface tower doesn't have a money variable. That belongs to obj_HUD. That's keeping track of the amount of money that's available. So obj_HUD. I'm going to go back to my interface tower, and when I left click, what I need to say is if the HUD's money is greater than cost. Now, you might well have put a controller object in your game, which is probably what I recommend, to be honest. Now, a controller object is just an object to keep track of things. For my game, the heads-up display object works perfectly well in that job. So I'm just having that keep a record of how much money that I've got. Now again, there is currently a flaw with this. It's not a bug. This will work, but it's just happily placing towers. So it doesn't seem to have done anything, but it is working. Problem is that we're not actually taking away the amount of money. Wouldn't it be nice if you could go to a shop and just say, do you have enough money? Yep. And then you can buy stuff without having to give any money over. So what we now need to do is we need to take the HUD, take its money variable, and subtract that by how much the cost of this tower is. So that's obj_HUD.money minus equals cost. Now, just be very careful about this. If you are looking in Squinto Vision, perhaps not the highest resolution, that is minus equals cost. If you're running this and it's crashing, that's because you've done equals minus. Now I'm going to take a second just to remind us of the difference for that. So if I were to write that line of code out underneath, but the wrong way round, if I space things out like that, it makes a little bit more sense. It says set money, so set equals sign, money becomes inverse cost, minus cost. So if your cost is 100, it will set it to minus 100, which is not what you want. Whereas this instruction here will take away 100, which is what we do want. Let's give that a try. So when I click on my tower now, it will immediately subtract 100 from money, and then placing it doesn't cost any more. It's just the act of physically trying to move it costs me money, which is what it's doing there. Let's have a look, though, at the flaw to this system. So this is now mechanically functional, but not actually playable, because currently I've placed my 5 towers, and I can't place any more because I've run out of money. So we need some way of garnering money, getting money back. You could do this in a million ways. You could say, every frame I gain 1 coin or 1 amount of money, or every time I destroy an enemy I gain some money, or every frame I pick some up, or every time I harvest a resource I get some money. Doesn't matter. All I'm going to say in this game is that every time that Bullet destroys an enemy, which I believe is in the enemy object, yes it is, when I collide with Bullet, I'm going to get some money back. So if HP is minus or equal to 0, I'm going to take my money and I'm going to add to that however much I'm worth. So I could say I'm worth, let's make this nice and easy. Let's say I'm worth 25 units, or I'm worth 25 coins. That works nice and easily. So when HP, this is the enemy has been destroyed basically, you should recognise this from the tower defense, add 25. We can be a little bit better than this though. So I'm going to say we place that, and I'm going to put 1 there. So after 3 shots, there you are. I've gained enough back. I'm getting 25. That doesn't really scale well. So if you were to have waves in your game, or if you were to have some system where perhaps you wanted this to get more difficult as the game went on and you got more money to compensate for that, well, why not give a variable called value that starts life at 25? And then, so I'm in my enemy object there, I was in the create, and I've just added a new variable called value. And then when I'm collided with Bullet, instead of adding 25, add whatever value is, and then suddenly it's scalable because it's a variable. So this will make absolutely no difference to my code, but should I want to expand on this later on, and should I want to add waves and different shooting mechanics and different enemies are worth different amounts, it becomes far, far easier to change. Okay, hope that was useful for you guys. Keep the questions coming.